Well, we're back, and I'm excited to have Wojo, the VP of Business Development for the Milwaukee Admirals, with me today. Welcome.
It's great being here.
We are so happy you're here. We've had an ongoing relationship with the Admirals for the last 9 years, and we absolutely love the Admirals. And as a backstory, as you know, Wojo, Harris Turr, the owner of the Admirals, and I met when I was an 18-year-old freshman in college at Madison. So we go back even farther than that, and I just couldn't be happier that you've taken time out of your busy schedule to be here today.
It's my pleasure. This is great.
So tell us what you do for the Admirals specifically, and how in the world does someone that looks as young as you have a 40-year history already at the Milwaukee Admirals? How in the world can that happen?
Oh, yeah. I tell you what, the next day I work will be the first time I've actually called it a job, because it's just been a labor of love for a really, really long time. And it's been a great time. I mean, I've really, really enjoyed it all. And it's when you look at what I do, it's kind of in a nutshell. It's really calmed down from many, many years ago when it was like pretty much everything.
Right.
And now I still sell sponsorships. I'm part of a committee that puts together all of our promotions. I buy all of our advertising. That's pretty much it in a nutshell.
After 40 years, you're the jack of all trades.
What's great about it is the trends. You know, I mean, I look back at some old files, and way back in the 80s and early 90s, we were spending the Admiral's budget. We were spending almost $200,000 on newspaper.
Yeah.
You know, and you'd buy newspaper, and then as the internet came up and everything started running more digitally and everything else, then what they do is they ask you to buy about $100,000 worth of digital advertising, but then they give you all the newspaper you wanted.
Yeah.
If you bought it that. So the trends in buying advertising have been sensational. Been so much fun.
It's crazy because I've been here at Hupy and Abraham for 30 years. And when I started, the primary mode of advertising was the yellow pages. A lot of the people that are going to listen to this podcast probably don't even know what a yellow pages is anymore, because no one gets them. And if you get them, you throw them away because you don't need them. But it's, and the one thing like the Admirals and like Hupy and Abraham, if you don't stay on top of the trends and you don't get on it early and you let it pass you by, you can really be passed by, because it changes and changes and changes. I want to go back, though. I want to go before the Milwaukee Admirals. What were you doing? And then tell us, how did you get to the Admirals, and tell us about that.
It was real simple. One day, Phil Whitliff, who was a GM, VP GM of the Admirals, came into the Goodyear store at Bayshore.
Okay.
And I sold him 4 tires for his car, and waltzed him through a sales presentation. And at the end of it, he said, "Wow, you're a pretty good salesman." I said, "Yeah, whatever." He goes, "You know who I am?" I said, "Yeah, you're Phil Whitliff, the general manager of the Admirals." He goes, "If you ever want to sell season tickets, if you ever want to sell season tickets for the Admirals or work for the Admirals, here's my card. Give me a call." That was it.
And then when did you call?
Yeah, I had taken a job after Goodyear. The Charles Lebowski Tire Company hired me away.
Uh-huh.
So I went to work there for about a year. And one day I said, "You know what? I've had enough of the tire business." And I called Phil. He said, "Come on down." And I was working for the Admirals like 6 hours later.
I can remember as a kid going to the Admiral games. I mean, it was, since we obviously didn't have the NHL team,
Mm-hmm.
It's been a staple in this community, and it's been fun. It's great family entertainment, exciting stuff. I mean, you guys really, even going back as far as I can remember, have always done fun things to make it family friendly.
I've been blessed to work for the Pettits. And then when, the team was owned by a trust and Harris came up and bought us, it's incredible. They're the same in being, they're so benevolent and so wonderful in the community. And every Harris hops on every cause, just like Jane Pettit did. And it was incredible, but they're two differing viewpoints. When you worked for Lloyd and Jane, it was always, we can't embarrass Lloyd and Jane, so we do some crazy promotions and stuff. And Jane would call me the next day and say, what was that we did last night? And so what we used to do then, we would put risky promotions in February and March, because that's when they spent time in Florida.
Oh, that's so funny.
So we would do risky promotions in February and March. The one night that I saw my job pass before my eyes is we brought in Tiny Tim for a again, most of our viewers would say, "What's a Tiny Tim?" We brought in Tiny Tim for a playoff game, first round playoff game. We always had a hard time drawing in the playoffs, and we had 9,000 people for a Friday night, Good Friday, playoff game with Tiny Tim. And literally, I got a call. I got paged up to the Pettit suite. said, Mr. and Mrs. Pettit would like to see you right now. And I went running up there and went, oh my gosh, I'm going to get a promotion. I'm going to get a raise. Life is great. I mean, I just, we have one of our biggest playoff crowds ever. And they said, what's this Tiny Tim stuff? I went, we never again will we have an act like this. I said, okay, I'm sorry. One of those.
That is so
apparently
funny.
they didn't like Tiptoe Through the Tulips, I guess. I don't know.
How did it come about that you, with the games, then brought in concerts and did all that stuff? How did that all come about?
I'll credit the late, great Dick Hackett at the Brewers, who was way ahead of his time. I mean, years before anybody was doing anything sports marketing, anything additional to the game. If you were a Brewer fan, you had to enjoy baseball because there was nothing going on other than the game.
Right.
Well, Dick introduced a post-game country show.
Okay.
And when we got to the Bradley Center, I knocked on the doors of the powers that be and said, I want to start doing concerts. I want to do at least one a year, maybe 2 a year. How can we make it easy to set up a stage, or 10 minutes, 15 minutes after the game, boom, we're on. What can we do? And we started doing 1, 2, sometimes 3, and we've done up to 5 a year now with Harris.
Wow, you have done 5 concerts in 1 year. Mm-hmm. That is amazing.
Absolutely.
Are the concert nights where you get the absolute biggest crowd, or is there a different kind of a promotion yearly that ends up being the biggest crowd for the Admirals?
Winter hats are huge. We've done a lot of. It's really, there's no rhyme or reason sometimes. You just wonder that, there's always going to be the 2 games a year where it surprises you. You look out there and go, wow, I guess they like what we're doing tonight. It could be the littlest thing or it could be the biggest thing.
Yeah.
But concert nights are huge for us. They really are. And plus what's great about those is we bring in a fan that probably hasn't seen a game before in a lot of cases. And they say, wow, that was great. We had a 7-6 concert game one night, and it was like, and the phone was ringing off the hook with people buying tickets for another game.
Yeah.
Coming up. So it was wonderful.
Well, the best thing about it, and I encourage anyone that's listening to our podcast, if you have not been to a Milwaukee Admirals game, you have to go. It is super exciting. It's fast-paced. It's exciting to watch. I know people like the fights. I'll always like the fights. But there's just a lot going on, and it's quick action. So it's easy for your kids to stay focused on the game because there's all this stuff going on. I love baseball. I'm a huge Brewer fan, season ticket holder. But sometimes after a 9-inning 1-0 game, and you're there 3.5 hours, it's hard. You're a little antsy. You don't have that same kind of experience when you're watching a hockey game.
The good thing about hockey is there's a physical nature of the game, and if the game is played properly, and I'm not talking about fights here. I'm talking about guys just really hitting each other hard, and it's a very physical game, and you can get a 1-0 or 2-1, 3-2 hockey game, and you go, wow, what a great night that was.
Yeah.
It's just incredible.
But it doesn't seem slow, even if it's 1-0 or 6-5. No. There's just so much action going on throughout the game. Okay, I was told early in your career there's something called the Toledo story. I know nothing about it, but I've been told I have to ask about it. Yeah, they must know. My sharp staff who's in the room with us right now, they said you have to ask about this, so I need to hear it.
I was spoiled. My second year with the Admirals, my first full season, we were fortunate enough to get to the Turner Cup Finals.
Okay.
And we were playing the Toledo Gold Diggers, and when the reporters who don't normally cover us on the road, wanted to come on the trip, so Phil Whitliff said, hey, you're going to take care of the reporters, and we're going to go to Toledo for the playoffs. So we did. So I asked our PR director where we should sit, and he said, the booth over there is yours. So Don Burke, Rel Boucher, 2 veteran sports writers, and I were in a room in about a 6-foot cube, like we were kind of jammed in. And it was about a minute and a half or 2 before face-off. And the owner of Toledo came up and said, what are you guys doing in my box? I said, Mike told us we're supposed to sit up here. And he said, well, you can't. I said, well, these are reporters from Milwaukee covering the game, so you need to leave. So I said, well, where do you expect us to go? He goes, I really don't care, you, and bleep, 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 bleep. And he hauled off and smacked me.
He smacked you?
Oh, yeah. It was great.
So they, as a joke, told you to go sit in there, and they knew you were going to get razzed, or they had no idea?
No, they had no idea. The PR director, everybody was just like, are you kidding? I mean, it was bad. The league put sanctions down. All kinds of crazy stuff happened. But it was an interesting night.
In front of all the Milwaukee reporters.
Yeah, and then to boot, we lost the game. It was Game 5. We lost the game. The series was tied at 2. We lost it 16-4, and I was literally the Toledo owner told the security in the building that I assaulted him first. So police all around the building were looking for me. I got sanctuary in our dressing room, inside our dressing room, and the team snuck me out. We were flying back to Milwaukee from Toledo that night to play Game 6, which we eventually lost. The team snuck me out of the arena in the stick bag. They put hockey sticks on the back, laid me on top, left a little room for me to breathe. Yes,
way.
Carried me and literally put me in the bottom of the bus. Got to the airport. They were going to put the sticks on the conveyor belt. They took me out first, and then got on the plane.
That is unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
Did he ever get arrested or anything ever happen?
He had some league sanctions. He got fined. It was, but it was interesting.
That is
crazy. It was an interesting night.
Wow, I cannot believe that. That is a great story. No wonder why they wanted me to ask about the
Toledo there you
story.
go.
I never heard that. That is unbelievable. Okay, what is besides this? I mean, that sounds like the craziest thing that's ever happened. But what is the craziest thing you've ever had to do during an Admirals game?
Oh, there's a lot of crazy things. I mean, from I stopped the human hockey puck forever, but at the end of the day, it was we had 17,000 plus people at the Village People where we came back to play.
Love the Village People.
And it was a big promo night. We rented a stage. We were going to put them right in center ice, and we're hanging out with the Village People. And before they would leave to go onto the stage, we had to sing Waltzing Matilda with them. You had to pass a joint with them. And there was one other thing. And so literally, I'm like, guys, they're waiting for you out there. The stage is ready. And they're like, oh, Joe, we can't. Waltzing Matilda. I said, I guess I can fake my way through. We got to sing it. So we're singing, Waltzing. He goes, okay. Then one guy lights up a doob, and they're passing it around the room. And they hand it to me, and I go, we're not going on without it. I went, but I didn't inhale. It was the way it was.
I was the human hockey puck one time.
Yes, you were.
I loved it. I thought it was hilarious.
I think I was at the other end of catching you.
Yeah, that was super fun.
The other crazy story is we partnered with 93 QFM to do a celebrity hockey game.
Okay.
Little did I know until like the night before that one of the celebrities that was procured was Laurentian Benbenek.
Really?
Yeah. So again, they'd been promoting it on the station for that whole week, but I hadn't heard the promos. And we had Jerry Springer. So we had Jerry Springer and Laurentian Benbenek were two of the. So anyway, we had a record walk up that night. We sold over 6,000 tickets on a Saturday night and a walk up to have over 14,000 in the building for the celebrity hockey. The next morning, my phone rings, and Jane Pettit saying, "Wojo, can you tell me why we had a convicted murderer on my ice last night?" So I did whatever he did. I passed the buck. I said, I had no idea the radio station did it, which was true. But I probably could have stopped it. But I mean, look at all these people in the line of people that wanted to meet her and get her autograph. We had her sitting in regular seats. We had to move her into a suite at the end of the first period because it was just ridiculous.
That is crazy.
So,
on a different note and a really amazing story, tell us about this live prostate screening that you did for men's health awareness. I think it was in the game in November of 2014. And to credit to you, you actually saved some lives, I've heard, as a result of this.
Incredible.
So let's talk. I mean, this is really amazing.
It was probably one of the most rewarding things we ever did. Everybody talks Movember, and I think it's a great thing. Guys grow facial hair. They call the attention to, men's health. So we're sitting at a radio station brainstorming, and one of the guys at the radio station says, "Too bad we can't do a live prostate exam." And I said, "Why can't we?" And he said, "Well, who?" I said, "I'm in." And during the games, I kind of sit in a secluded booth anyway. So they said, "You really are?" I said, "So we literally, Harris always has been the guy that let's get crazy, do outlandish stuff. So what's more outlandish than that?" So literally, had my 90 seconds of fame for my live prostate exam, and it was really, really didn't realize the impact until first of all, I did over 30 interviews nationwide. Jim Rome and other places did interviews all over the country. "You're really not going to do this?" "Yeah, I'm going to do this." And it was unbelievable. My week, our PR director Charlie kept walking and said, "Hey, Woj, can I trouble you for one more interview? Can you do 2 more interviews?" So it was phenomenal. And at the end of the day, it was received really, really well. I was raking my leaves, cutting my grass for the last time, and the car stops in front of my house, and this woman comes up to me, and she hugs me, and I'm like,
"Well, you're a handsome guy."
I know. I said, "Can I help you?" She goes, "I just want to tell you." She walks. "Can I hug you?" I said, "What's?" She said, "My husband and I were at the game, last week, and we're there for your live prostate exam. I nudged him and I said, when's the last time you were at a doctor? He said, oh, I'm fine. It's been years. Went to the doctor. They asked him to do a stress test. They asked him to do something else. On the day she came over and gave me a hug, he just got off the operating table with 3 bypasses.
Crazy.
Would never have gone to the doctor had I not been a goofy jerk and done that. But at least a half a dozen similar stories. A couple prostate cancers, a heart thing, and a couple other things.
And how did you come up with that and all these other promotions you do? How
Well,
do you come up with those?
Well, because every year we did a Movember night. And every year we call attention to men's health by our guys grew beards, and it was fun. It was a nice social. Did well at the very beginning of social media. It was really a nice. It was kind of a fun, nice thing to do. But it cut. Doing a live prostate exam cuts through the clutter. I mean, if you want to call attention to men's health, guess what? That's going to cut through the clutter.
Yeah. So every year, do you try to come up with something new, and how do you find it? Or now you've pretty much done everything, and you just kind of fine tune what you're already doing?
We really tune into what everybody else is doing because, face it, all the best stuff is swiped.
Yeah.
I mean, I look around the league now, and you have 13 teams doing post game concerts. You have all kinds of other things that we've done in the past, and I'm believe me, I am not too proud to steal from somebody that had a great idea. So no, and we have a really gifted promotional committee. I mean, with people a lot younger to me that know what's hip and what's not hip and everything else. So at the end of the day, what's really great is we all get together and we throw some things around and we come up with crazy stuff and it's fun.
Well, you guys have done it right, and you have because of, first of all, the fun you're having, all the fans you get, and when the other teams start copying what you're doing, you're doing it right. We have that same problem here. I've got a great marketing team.
Yep.
And my competition copies us, and it's frustrating. But you know what? If you're doing it right, other people are going to copy you.
No question.
I want to talk about some of the things you've got coming up this year in the concerts. You have, I think, 4 concerts coming up this year. I don't know if you know the dates. I have the dates here, but it looks like, why don't you tell the listeners what we've got coming up this year for the Admirals? First of all, Happy New Year. Can't believe it's 2023. We know it's going to be a great year for the Admirals and for us, but let's talk about what you've got going on for your fans this year.
We actually consider it 5 concerts, Jason. We have the Badger Band coming on the 27th of January.
Love them.
And then we come back with Scotty McCreery on the 28th of January, which Scotty was supposed to be here back in we just right after we got shut down by COVID, and we lost REO Speedwagon and Scotty McCreery that year, which was just a shame, but that's the way it goes.
Yeah.
And then we have Russell Dickerson on March the 10th, another great country show. And then we're bringing the Dropkick Murphys. This will be the 4th time we brought the Dropkick Murphys, and they're coming during their St. Patrick's Day tour.
Okay.
And they're just wildly popular the other times we've had them, and they're just a great show. And then something new with Stone Temple Pilots on April 14th.
Yeah, that's a big name.
Oh yeah, no question. And we're really happy with the series. It's great. It's a nice mix.
And how long does the season go?
Oh, April 16th is our last game, and then playoffs on top of that, knock on wood.
And how good is the team going to be this year?
The team has been really, really good so far. I mean, we've really played well. And it really comes down to if Nashville can stay healthy, and we don't have to we don't care if one of our guys gets called up because he's playing really well.
Yeah. Because
they'll send somebody back to us to replace that guy.
That was up in the
yeah,
NHL,
exactly. So that we don't mind that as much. But when they get somebody hurt and we have to send somebody up, and then we have to call somebody up from the East Coast League, that's a whole nother story.
Yeah, so. I get it. Yeah. Well, as I said early on, we have been a sponsor of the Admirals since I think this year will be our 10-year anniversary. And we've done a ton of fun things. I'm just looking at my notes here. We've sponsored the Zamboni. We've sponsored the Community Give Back Program. We've done the Admiral Ship Sponsor, where we put kids as the captain of the ship each game. I know I've had friends and employees that have done that. And obviously we have some booths out in the concourse handing out stuff. But this year we're doing something new that we're super excited about. And it's the game opening siren where the fans get a chance to crank the siren. Tell us about that.
Well, first of all, we appreciate everything Hupy and Abraham have done for us. It's been an incredible partnership. And yeah, right before the game starts, the anthems are done. We tell people not to get hit in the head with a puck. I as a personal injury lawyer, you could probably appreciate that.
Yeah.
And then we tell them that, and then we introduce the person that does the Hupy and Abraham siren, and they crank the siren for 8 to 10 seconds, and then we get start the game.
Awesome. Well, we're so grateful for the Admirals for what you do. You know, as I said, growing up myself, I love going to the games. I don't get to as many now as I used to, but it really was a super fun experience every time I went. I love you guys. I love Harris. I think what you put forth for the fans is just such a unique, awesome experience. And when I'm there and I see people in the stands, everyone is having fun. Everyone is excited. And you just do so many things to keep everyone engaged. So you should be proud of everything you've done. And Wojo, I cannot believe you have been there 40 years. That is just wild.
It'll be 40. Yeah, it'll be 41 pretty soon. So.
And how long do you think you're going to continue working?
You know, I don't know. You know, I still really enjoy what I do, and it's really crazy is that literally most of my friends have retired in the last year, so they're all like, "Come on, what are you?" I said, you know what? I still love it. You know, I still love what I do, and the people I've talked to, including my own brother, said to me, I said, you know, he retired at 53, I think, and has done a lot of charity work and traveled a lot and a lot of other things, and I said, I don't know, I'm just not feeling the itch to. And he said, from someone who retired too early, stay as long as you're able.
Yeah.
And I always said, and that's just the way it is.
That's how I felt throughout this last 30 years. When you love what you do, it really doesn't feel like work, which makes coming to work every day,
absolutely,
so much easier.
You know, and literally, you know, I sit there and look around every night in some of the crazy promotions and some of the fun we do, and you know, I feel because I still run the game operations from up top, so I call the shots for videos and all the other stuff. You feel like Geppetto up there. You want to play some dance music, dance, everyone, dance, or sing. Awesome. You know, it's great because you can literally tell everybody to make noise, and it's like, wow, you know, you literally can. You can kind of force people to have a good time. Yeah. You can even see the people that get there at the beginning. The husband obviously wanted to come to the game, and the wife's got a good book. And the first 4 minutes of the game, and then we get a shot of her on the jumbotron, and then later on in the game, we come back to them, and it's the kiss cam or the smile cam or something else crazy, and now she's having big fun dancing to the music.
Well, it's got to be fun for you to direct that, and then you can see the smiles.
Yes.
I mean, what a great thing to do something and then see the smiles. You get that immediate feedback that what you're doing is working.
No question.
Well, we're not going to let you leave until we finish the podcast with a little game we play. It's called the Hupy Hot Seat. And since we're in January and it's winter, this one is going to have kind of an ice slip and fall safety twist to it. So today we're going to see if we can ice Wojo out of the special winter segment of Hupy Hot Seat. Wojo will have to answer 3 questions about winter ice and snow safety. And we'll just see. It's a fun thing. See how many you get right. So how many people per year are injured as a result of falling on ice or snow? A, 500,000, B, 1 million, or C, 1.5 million?
I would say B.
You're right, 1 million. And thankfully, it's not people on the Admirals ice.
You know, for somebody that does a lot of his job on ice, stay away as much as you can.
Yeah. Which type of road is most likely to have black ice? Highways, residential roads, or bridges and overpasses?
Bridges and overpasses.
Yeah, that's right. That was kind of an easy one. Come on, crack staff. That one's pretty darn easy.
The clue is when you're driving over a bridge or overpass.
They have
big
that sign
that says, maybe slippery on bridge and overpass.
Well, we don't want to make it too hard. We want you to leave here feeling good about yourself.
Exactly right.
Okay, and here I even have a little asterisk that says bridges and overpasses are particularly dangerous because temperatures drop rapidly on elevated surfaces, hence the signs as we're driving.
Exactly right.
Which of the 4 household items will not help you melt ice on your sidewalk? Sand, sugar, vinegar, or beet juice?
Beet juice.
No, vinegar. I would have guessed beet juice too because it seems so strange. You just would think it has to be beet juice. But the answer is vinegar, and vinegar will lower the ice's melting point, but it doesn't melt ice like salt or the other alternatives.
Wow.
So you did extremely well. You got 2 of the 3 right, but we had to have something to stump you, or it would just be too darn easy.
No, that was great.
Well, Wojo, I can't thank you enough for coming here today. It was a treat to hear your fun stories, to hear someone so passionate about what they've done over the last 40 years, especially for such a great organization like the Admirals. And We just feel so lucky to be partnered with you guys. We've had a great time. You deliver everything we ask. When our clients and or employees go there, they always have a great time. So thanks for making the partnership so easy.
Thank you so much for having us and everything you do for the Admirals.